These are on. Okay, okay, I think we are live now. Are going live.
Yes, I can see it.
We can see we are live.
Ready, we are live.
Okay. Good night, Jamaicans.com. This is Ashleigh-Ann, and I am live for another episode of Reason with Ashleigh-Ann. Now, of course, tonight is a little bit different. I'm not so used to the technology, so bear with me, please. I am joined live by, I'm joined with, I think I said joined with, yeah, joined with Climate Change Communicator and Advocate, Dainalyn Swaby. Let me just say she is the 2017 Miss Jamaica Festival Queen, and she is a Evening Scholar 2019, right, Dainalyn?
Yes, that's correct.
Yes. All right. So as you come in, I want to pull up your comments on my other device. I'm going to try to figure this out. As you come in, I'm sure you're going to see the caption, and we are talking about something very, very, very important tonight. But before I jump into the topic, I want to tell you that I'm broadcasting from Kingston, Jamaica, but we're also connecting with Dainalyn Swaby, who is where?
In London,
Yeah,
in the UK.
London, guys. So big up to all the UK people. If it is, and she's drinking some tea.
Yeah, I have to bust the gas. Ashley, it's 2 minutes after 1.
Yes. So it's 7 o'clock in Jamaica. If you're watching in the US Eastern side, it's 8 p.m., right? But in London, it's actually 1 a.m. or at least past 1 a.m. now.
It's Sunday.
It's Sunday morning in London. So I must tell Dainalyn, thank you so much for making this sacrifice. And if this is the first time you're watching the show, Reason with Ashleigh-Ann, it's a show that I do on Jamaicans.com every week, where we discuss current affairs. Basically, the reason we do it, there are so many Jamaicans that are spread across the world, and sometimes things happen within the island and you don't get to really share your thoughts on it. So this platform allows you to share all that you have to share about current affairs. Tonight, we are talking about the Saharan dust storm. And if you're familiar with what is happening right now in the Caribbean and parts of the US, just please comment below. Dainalyn, it's not in England, right? When you're not seeing cloud, how should I say, dust cover.
No, not that I'm aware of. I mean, I think that the UK weather is definitely bipolar, because today, I'm just heading out to have a picnic and gray skies, but I don't think that was dust related at all.
Okay. All right. So, of course, tonight we are speaking about the Saharan dust storm in relation to the facts that we're, or I should say the information that we are sharing online. The question that we're posing, are we sharing facts online about the Saharan dust storm? When we talk about online now, I want to break it down and make it very simple. I'm talking about Facebook, talking about Instagram, talking about WhatsApp and those videos and chain messages. That is what we're talking about. Let me tell you about it, Dainalyn. So I know many of you know what I'm talking about when I say the WhatsApp chain messages, right? So as it relates to the Saharan dust storm, from what let me ask you, Dainalyn, what have you heard about
it? Okay, so because I stick to credible sources, so what I understand, obviously, that this is not something new, but so it happens every year where there's a windstorm in the Sahara Desert and it picks up plume, which is like a mass of dust, and it travels all the way over 5,000 miles across Atlantic to us. But this time around, it has been the most intense that we've ever witnessed. And I think it's joining the ranks of a lot of extreme weather events that we're tending to see. I also know scientists are saying it's the most intense in like 25, 50, 60 years. I saw some articles saying 25. I see some saying within 50 to 60 years, it has been the most intense that they've seen. So definitely something unprecedented. 2020 just now, I'm not chill, Ashleigh. And I know though, outside of what I also know is that it's serious because it impacts air quality, but it's not something that people should panic about. But you should be concerned for persons who have existing respiratory illnesses, and also be mindful of the fact that it can also trigger new illnesses. So some of us aren't even aware, because like when I lie down and sleep at nighttime, sometimes I have breathing issues. So, you know, if I were in Jamaica right now, I wouldn't be trying to go outside. And just because my eyes are a magnet for the dust. So, you know, people who are able to like pick up irritants easily in their eyes or whatnot, you just should stay indoors. And I want to make it clear too, from my understanding and what I've been reading, there is not a direct connection with climate change. Definitely, as I said, it's more intense than usual, but scientists are also trying to determine what it means for future climate change events, even though there is a upside to this, because we heard earlier that this year was projected to be one of the most active Atlantic hurricane seasons. And they're saying like this massive, you know, dust that's coming in from the Sahara, it can actually suppress hurricanes because of the dust and absorbing the air, the moist air. So it makes it cooler. I'm not a scientist, but there is an upside. And there are other benefits to it as well.
Okay, all right. I'm glad you made that point clear. We are both communication majors, right?
Thank you.
So we are speaking about the Saharan dust storm in relation to communication issues. And one of the things that I wanted to bring to this discussion is that there is an argument, you know, there is conversation right now that with everything that is going on in 2020, the Saharan dust storm is here to wipe out the black race, because see, this dust never exists before, and see, it's a come to the Caribbean that is predominantly black, and watch out now, everybody is going to die because they tried it with COVID-19.
You know what is so interesting, Ashleigh? We're in the information age, and it, just like when I'm saying, with great power comes great responsibility. I feel like with vast information, it requires more critical thought. And and on the notion, and sometimes we have to look into ourselves, or just like when we are here about something the first time, it doesn't mean that it's a new thing. Acknowledge it. Just like when somebody might say, Ashleigh, first you wear the lipstick, then no, first you're seeing me wear this lipstick. So it's just like these weather events. As I said, they said it's nothing new, but it's definitely getting more it is more intense. And just like last week, I was reading on because I'm doing my dissertation in climate change and climate communication, and it's so interesting how there was a paper that is looking at youth engagement, and they were suggesting that you find virtual means of engaging people who do not live in their community that they hail from, but they want to contribute to the community. So people like me that live in Kingston, but is from Black River. And I know I'm being like, may I go wide now, but may I just say that was a 2007 paper. And I'm saying, look how now we're discussing virtual. So just like how a lot of things that's happening now, you know, we have to understand we're limited with our knowledge. You know, we just hear it in the news, but that no means that a long time people, you know, they have been researching things like that. And these conspiracy theories, like where people, how it starts, where people get this information from. I
am less concerned about where them get it from, and more concerned about how we are processing and receiving these, as I said, fake information or fake news. Exactly. I think one of the things that we need to ensure that we are doing is to do some research, and everything what drop in a WhatsApp, we need to just share it.
I'm happy you touched on that, and I think we need to also experience teaches us. Like I even remember I have my aunt, who I grew up with, and she, she was always tuned into the radio, whether it was RJ or Motty Perkins, and whenever there are certain conversations, it's like she would always weigh it against what she heard on the radio, what she heard on primetime news, and she made an effort to diligently stick to the news. I don't know if people have not got over this phenomenon of WhatsApp and the constant and immediate communication that it has.
Yes.
And as I said, and for true, like we in a tons of WhatsApp group, in the family chat them, and everybody sending the chain mail and this text. And I feel like what people need to understand, if you cannot trace where the information came from, then nobody can send me something. And if it doesn't have a Gleaner link, if it doesn't have an Observer link or a news site that I recognize, I don't take it as news. So even if you send, and a lot of websites are coming out that you don't immediately recognize. So for me, if I heard it or saw it first attached to a website that I don't recognize, I'm Googling it to see if, and a lot of people don't even realize that when you Google things, you have the all tab, you have the image tab, and you have news. So if you really want to fact check news, you go and you type in a topic and you click news, and what it will do is show the recent headlines, and in most cases a lot of the credible news sites and media houses that are speaking on a specific topic. So I think people need to like focus on doing things like that.
That's a fundamental way in which we can research and identify credible news sources. If you're just joining the conversation, this is Reason with Ashleigh-Ann. I am here live with Climate Change Communicator and Advocate. And of course, she's a podcaster, Global Yaadie podcast, right? So please check that out afterwards. We are talking about how are we receiving and sharing information about the Saharan dust storm. And not only that, but unusual weather events. Look here, earlier this year, we Jamaica see so many unusual stuff, including the earthquakes, right? I'm sure you heard about them, Dainalyn. I must acknowledge people who are commenting below. Zizi, welcome. She said, hello, tell me what your experiences are. If you're in Texas, I get to understand that the second wave of this storm, right, will be affecting some of those southern states in the United States. So you're talking about Texas. And Texas is, the reason I'm mentioning Texas, I was just listening to a news report, and I think it was CBS, and the reporter basically said that Texas is seeing a spike in the COVID cases. And from what he understands, COVID attacks this respiratory system. And this dust storm, if it is that you have pre-existing challenges, with the respiratory system, then it may also affect you. So the advice, as Dainalyn said, turn your yard.
No, stay inside. So now they must say ding dong did have it right when you say inside.
Inside.
Right, so you can do it in your yard. So it's a double complication, actually, because you can imagine people who have respiratory illnesses and you're trying to like stay away from COVID, and then having to deal with this challenge. People with asthmatic from a long time. It's gonna be so intense.
Dainalyn, so you're at a stage where you're actually studying, going a little deeper into communication studies and all of that. As it relates to fake news, one of the things that I do, right, once it is identified that the information being shared is not credible, the person who shared the information with me, I make the point of my duty to just say, look here, this is something that is not, it cannot, the information you share with me, it cannot be verified. I went to wherever them say, because sometimes I should say some of these fake news posters, they would identify credible organizations and say, oh, the information coming from this place. So I do my fact checking. So I would say, look here, I checked and the information cannot be verified. So education is important. What else would you recommend, Dainalyn?
All right, so my focus in terms of my studies, global communication and development, is not so much media centric or journalist, but definitely it encourages participatory communication and dialogue. So we're having a dialogue. So I think exactly what you identified, going back to the person that you got some incorrect information. And I think sometimes we need to address that. So a lot of times, sometimes let's take it from the bottom up. And that's what where I'm studying, that's what they emphasize, bottom up processes. So the person that shared the information with you, the WhatsApp groups that are prone to kind of sharing, we need to have a counter strategy to say, listen, people, even as a little etiquette in the group, like, don't share forwarded messages that have no trace. So those just plain text messages that and these random voice notes that are so exaggerated all the time. So I think
I am waiting for the one for the Saharan Dust storm.
Just having the conversation. Sometimes people and you're asking me what I should do. Sometimes we must address these things, and I say address it because in the family WhatsApp group, I hear my auntie, them, I hear my friends, I hear certain people, well, not really friends, because my friends, we are
not shared fake news.
Right. So, but what happens is that sometimes we ignore people and we let it slide. But if we go back and say, listen, this is not real, check this side, don't allow anybody to send you this information, I believe. So I think having the conversation, with the eager messengers, because they mean well, but you have some people, especially on WhatsApp. And I also think that people who are kind of new to technology or who weren't in the space for a long time, they're more gullible. You understand? Because it's coming through this device and it's digitized. I think they assign some sort of legitimacy to the information. So I think one of the things that we do is to address the information and also share. If you are able to find some sort of verifiable information, you're going to share it with them. So if you send me something, Ashleigh, I'm never sure about it, I see something from Gleaner or Observer, I'm going to share the link with you. I'm going to share the Instagram with you. And what you can start doing is lead the process in your group by, I like that our leaders in government and the opposition, they are also being very they're being very transparent in terms of the information that they're putting out there as well. Being on top of sharing credible news. So sometimes if you're following our Prime Minister on Instagram, if you're following our Minister of Health, you tend to always be in the know. So sharing these links in the same ways, that sharing the links through social media, through your WhatsApp pages, is also something that will maybe engender new practice. So all right, Ashleigh, I was come with the story then. I have a particular work group where there's a young man who's always sharing things, but we know that he, like, where you getting it from? But as Gleaner carries, as Nationwide carries, whatever news site he gets it, he's putting it out there. So you know that, all right, we're getting it from the horse's mouth or from a very credible source. So it's not that random voice notes. And I feel like everybody should just set up a rule and just practice to look out for people who share content, like ZJ Sparks on Instagram. Is somebody also who, she's not a news, like a journalist, but as a media personality, she always has those kind of bites that she's putting out there as well. So pay attention to the people who are sharing the information that coincides or seems that checks out, basically. Follow them. And just run with the people and with the bag of voice notes and chain messages. I think we start from there in practical terms.
I think so too. You made some very valid points. I identified some, I should say, credible news sources that some of my viewers can probably tap into. If you don't see it, you get the WhatsApp voice note, but you don't see that information on, as you said, Ministry of Health. You understand? And we're talking about the Jamaican Ministry of Health, right? If you don't see it on our Prime Minister's page, you're not seeing it on. In this instance, it's a weather event, so you're not seeing it being shared by the Met Office, right? Then you really have to question whether or not it's information that you should reshare, right?
Right.
I just want to big up, I think it's Niti. So Niti Sims Davidson said, thank you, you are most welcome. A very important thing, we keep saying share, and I forgot to do this. Please ensure that you are sharing our live video. We still have a good amount of time to talk about what we have to talk about. And I'm glad that Dainalyn mentioned the fact that while this is not a climate change issue, there are some researchers who are looking into in what way there is going to be a relationship, right?
Oh, I'm happy you brought it back, Ashley, because there's another point that I wanted to make.
Yes.
On the same note of it not being a climate change issue, but you definitely realize that it's an environmental challenge. And I think one of the things that you don't want to miss in this space, when you look at COVID and when you look at even these extreme weather events, you recognize that we are supposed to look beyond the issue. So with the Saharan dust situation right now, you're talking about air pollution. So even places where you may have a lot of challenges previously with air pollution, thinking of how worse it's going to be. And then it's now not because of dust, this saga or this fiasco has occurred. You're now, it's not, you shouldn't just look at it in a vacuum. What are the other ways in which we're contributing to air pollution, or air pollution is impacting us? Simple thing as even some of the paint and chemicals and things that we use in our household, these things are just building up and riding on our health like that. So I think the bigger issue, I know something like this shows you that concern for the environment is not in a vacuum. It's not that humans are over here and the environment is over here. We're together in one space. And and even with COVID, if it has shown us nothing, is that we are all in one basket. So you're thinking about how it is that it's deeper than deeper than just a scenario. It's a bigger concern for the environment, and everybody should kind of see their role, the role that they need to play in this right now.
Look here, if valid point. Look here, if I didn't believe that we are interconnected, 2020 showed me that at the first, and I must acknowledge the fact that the weather experts have said that this is the first time the Saharan dust storm has been manifested in such great magnitude, right? So it's not new, but this is the first time it has, affected us so, what should I say now? So
badly.
fast.
It's so it's extreme and severe, and that's what I'm saying. We see Sahara Desert, when we talk about hurricanes, as we said, even if it's not directly linked to climate change, you realize that all these, like the weather events in a Jamaican term, like how them deal with so strong. When you think about the hurricanes, when you think about flooding, when you think about the heat, it's like everything is just much more intense. And that's why more of us, we need to pay attention. A lot of people, as I mentioned, with rain, you depend on rainfall for water in your house and things like that. How are you covering? How are you protecting it? And I saw this morning that even the dust could cause power outages. So JPS was looking into that as well. So
I didn't see that. Thanks for bringing that to
right, yeah, they were saying that it could cause, with the accumulation of dust on some of the power, like power stations or whatever, it could cause like some short circuiting and cause some outages. But they're on their teams are on hand to kind of address the issue same time. But you realize, as I said before, so many issues. And can you imagine if it were not COVID, this would have still disrupt a lot of activities, because outdoor and you've been engaging intense.
On the second day, I had some business to do in town. You understand? And I said, all right, I'm going to head out with my family, with our mask and everything. When I went outside, I mean, we noticed that the time had to know, but I said, when we go outside, and it literally looked as if we were going to have rain, right? And I'm like, no, I don't want to go outside. Why is it so hot? And it was so frightening. You understand? So I understand if there are some people right here in Jamaica and those overseas in other Caribbean countries who are just so appalled by this. But I think at this time, just like with COVID, it's not a time for us to panic. It's a time for us to strategize and make smart decisions that are informed. Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you. And another thing that I remember when you said, what are some of the things that we should do in sharing factual information? Just another simple thing is that if you don't know where the information came from, don't share it.
Simple.
If you,
Simple.
where you get this from? If somebody send a look a random note to you, Ashleigh, and tell you to take some action, and you don't know if it's a mother or Tessene, is that your sister's name? You know,
Yes,
or
yes.
if or anybody wrote it. How you know you're not gonna move quickly. You're going to question who sent this, where you get this from, how this come about. Same thing.
You made a valid point, and I want to share something with you. This happened. I don't know if it has ever happened to you, Dainalyn. Sometimes people will send me a message on Facebook, and look here. Yes, when you send me a message on Facebook, especially to my Facebook page, Instagram, do not put a link in there and explain, and do not and just send the link and don't explain what it is all about. Sometimes
introduction.
the links, they are spam. You understand? And they can cause destruction to your devices. You understand? Or even compromise your account. I don't click links. So even if it is you're my best friend, you send me a link, my response is always, hi, what is that all about?
You're lucky I have time, because now that you talk about that, actually, you know what I realize? You remember before we came into, what you call it, internet 2.0 or whatever, they're used to always talking about email etiquette, internet etiquette. I realize that kind of has gone out the window. Not everybody is stressing and emphasizing those things, and people are jumping in a DM, hey, and you said just sharing the link, because I'm thinking about myself. If I'm to approach somebody who I don't know and I want to collaborate, or if I some meaningful or sensible engagement, you introduce yourself and state what you're about. So why are people not applying that same courtesy? You understand? And even for me, I use that as an eliminating factor to say, listen, you are not about some legitimate business, or you're not credible, or you come to waste my time right now, because you don't walk in an establishment or somewhere and just put on something and come out. If you're trying to sell something. And I think in simple terms, if people don't know how to behave in the internet, check yourself and say, how would you engage in a space, in a physical space, among strangers, in the same business that you're operating right now? At the same thing, if it's an email and Ashley refer me to somebody else, I'm gonna go, hi, my name is so and so, referred by Ashleigh-Ann. It's the same way in an email, it's the same way in your Instagram.
Same way Instagram, same on Facebook.
Right.
Simple.
It's just
simple. I really hope that our listeners enjoy the conversation. Elaine says Jamaicans are the toughest. Yeah, man, we're resilient people indeed. I must tell Dainalyn, thank you. We actually have a few more minutes before we wrap up.
No problem.
So I know you were enjoying the conversation, but we're just here for half an hour.
Yeah.
So any final thoughts that you'd like to share with our viewers tonight?
As it relates to the whole scenario about the Saharan dust and
just sharing information about unusual weather events.
I think just not to panic and not to be scared, and just, you know, like when you get that information, and so before you react and want to share with somebody else, like I said before, listen out. I know the radio stations, some radio stations are still, if you listen to radio, you catch your ears and listen to what the next update is going to say. And if you are on social media, you know that, and you follow Gleaner. So if you're on Instagram and all those major sites, today is your day to start following the media houses on your social media channels, so you can get the information directly. And if you want to identify public figures that you know share credible and factual information, if it is a politician, if it's a leader in business, or if it's a youth leader, somebody that you know always sharing news, you make sure that you follow them. Or I know, for example, if I heard something and I wasn't sure, you could speak to Ashley, who I know Ashley would have good information. Ashley, have you heard X and Y? Before you share. So it's all about think before you share. The Broadcasting Commissioner told us this already, but just be reminded. Think before you share, and if you don't know where the information came from, if you can't defend the information that you're sharing, why is it worth putting it out there?
True. Let me just add, you should be adding Jamaicans.com to your list of credible information sources, especially for as it relates to information about Jamaica and Jamaicans. We're on Facebook, we're on Instagram. So ensure that you like and share You understand? I'm pretty sure there's an article there about the Saharan dust storm. So ensure that you're doing that. Lovely people. Gregory says no fake news. No fake news at all.
Okay.
Thanks for joining, Gregory. Thank you so much, Dainalyn, for spending some time with me.
Thank you for engaging me.
The new level of Reason with Ashleigh, and I hear people keep on saying 2.0, and so this is the Reason with Ashleigh 2.0. All right. So I'm hoping that you can join us again another time. Probably it's not so late again, so you're not
no problem.
But take good care of yourself, Dainalyn. Take good care of
Thanks,
yourself,
Ashleigh.
people. Just before you leave, where can we find you on social media?
Okay, so you can follow me on Facebook and LinkedIn at Dainalyn Swaby. If it's Instagram, it's at Lynn Swaby on Instagram and Twitter at Lynn Swaby, LYNNSWABY. And you can also follow my podcast at Global Yaadie on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and globalyaadie.com to keep up with my podcast. We're talking about sustainable development and culture with people from all across the world. Yep.
All right. Excellent. Take good care of yourself, Dainalyn. Take good care of yourself.
You
people,
too.
remember I'm on Facebook. What you say? What you say?
No, me say you too. Take care of yourself too, and your daughter, everybody, and your Jamaican.com family.
Yes. Remember, guys, Reason with Ashleigh-Ann is every Saturday at 7 p.m. But guess what? You can talk to me anytime on my Facebook page, Ashleigh-Ann Mowat. I'm on Instagram, A-Mowat, Twitter, A_Mowat. Take care of yourself, lovely people, and take care of yourself too, Dainalyn. Bye.